everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Sunday, June 12th, 2022, a little after 3 p.m. Eastern. Do not delude yourself by imagining your source to be some God outside you. Your source is within yourself. Give yourself up to it. See the source within and merge with it. Ramana Maharshi. Do not delude yourself by imagining your source to be some God outside you. Your source is within yourself. Give yourself up to it. Seek the source within and merge with it. We live in a world that ignores the fact that a supreme, divine, all-loving intelligence lives within us. We've been programmed to believe we are spiritually disconnected and must fix our broken selves to feel whole and reconnected again. We just don't realize it. Yet we are just used to feeling spiritually numb as we have been plagued every day of our lives by an overly materialistic society which is constantly seducing us with its glorified billion-dollar hypnotic media programming. We have contracted a deep case of spiritual amnesia and have forgotten how to relax into our spiritual essence and find our own intimate connection with the divine. This everyday ignorance of our spiritual nature is the greatest lie mankind is living today. It is the cause of every moment of suffering each human being is currently enduring. One may think this spiritual drought was created by mankind coincidentally and is not part of the grand divine design. Nothing is by coincidence or without purpose in this universe. This blind ignorance is within us all on purpose so that we move more passionately towards a state of awakening. These intense levels of disconnection only drive us deeper inside ourselves to find our own soul. This lifetime we have is meant to be a deeply enlightening experience. Is there anything more important than knowing how to access your own direct personal connection to an all-powerful, deeply and eternal loving source of highly intelligent creative energy that has the magical power to manifest anything your heart desires? There is nothing more vital to finding happiness in life than knowing one's spiritual connection, and nothing more exciting than a proven way to access it without which works every time. No matter how ridiculously stuck you feel about your financial situation, relationships, health, sex life, and future, there is always a way to reach freedom. If you wish to gain a greater spiritual perspective in this life, make the choice today to clarify your personal relationship with the divine. You can see just how far you've come on your spiritual journey by taking the risk to answer these challenging questions. What is stopping you from always being in communion with God? What is stopping you from always being in communion with God? What exactly is your relationship with God like? What does it feel like when you are having a truly intimate connection with God? How often do you recognize and connect with the divine aspects of yourself? How is your life different when living with the connection versus without it? The longer you sit with these questions and feel into your answers, the deeper you'll dig into your soul and eventually discover your spiritual connection. It is never too late to try and connect, even if you have wasted 75 years of your life on gluttonous, frivolous, mindless activities, feeling perpetually lost in a superficial life. The God source is still here. The door to the divine is always open, and God is waiting for you to come in. When you take one step towards God, God will take 10 steps towards you. Make time to redefine your relationship with the divine. And I guarantee you that your precious time will not be wasted. Maybe when you explore your own personal connection with the divine, I always first look into my heart rather than my head. I always concentrate on my heart. I have for years. It's not that you can always, because of certain external interferences. So I always first look into my heart rather than my head. The head is so full of ideas about what God is and is not. The head misses the real experience, feeling, and quality of godliness. When the mind is quiet, still, and single-pointed into the now, we can instantly find that deeply alive spiritual feeling inside. The God source already exists within the heart and at the core of our soul as we relax into this place. A timeless, deeply eternal, loving, conscious energy sneaks into us, relaxes every cell and fiber of our very being. I find that God is the most mysterious thing in this universe, perhaps because it is the universe. God exists in everyone and everything, yes, including those people who you think are deeply disconnected. Have you wondered, how can such an amazing presence be so spatially close to us and still be so difficult to feel and see? It's like trying to look into our own eyes without a mirror. We look out at life through these tiny black holes in our eyes, taking them for granted and not realizing they exist at all because they are so close to us. When something is too close to us, we are often unaware how precious it is. The same applies to noticing God. We are unaware of God until we take a step back and look deeper into our own reflection and the great mirror that is all around us. Realization of the self is realization of God. It is not an experience of God. Rather, it is an understanding that one is God, Ramana Maharishi. And see, we do this, it's like that we feel unworthy, or because of the man-made religious entanglements on this planet, we feel wrong or bad to understand that each of us is God within the body. And through the years, you may discover the exploration and inquiry that it's much more easier to connect with God by relating to it as an isness rather than an it. You may find that God is more like a mysterious infinite energy than some fixed stagnant entity. The great isness is instantly found when we stop and feel into this eternal quality, which feels like we are always and forever here now. The isness is our infinite nature, and this can only be experienced when we are living fully in the now, exploring life from a relaxed, trusting connection. The divine isness is the most accepting, healing, forgiving energy one could imagine. The isness is the source of deep, eternal love, which when even momentarily welcomed, we instantly feel the most profound, ecstatic joy inside our heart. The knowing that we are eternal spiritual beings moves through us throughout the day like a healing river of eternal liquid love. The very second we surrender our heart to just the idea of an eternally loving isness, we immediately find real peace, a sense of bliss, and a feeling of real satisfaction that cannot be compared. Knowing this isness is our basic nature. We start radiating like the sun and start shining our own spiritual essence into everyone in our lives. The only reason we may not feel, believe, and know that God is right here within the very center of our bodies, soul, and heart right now is because of one thing blocking the way. Our overly busy, demanding, controlling, and desiring mind. As long as the mind is wanting something, willing something, thinking it is lacking something, trying to reach a better place other than the great is-ness that's here now, we will easily miss our spiritual path. We will find ourselves living in thoughts about God instead of experiencing the real divinity. If we get too lost in the head, we might end up walking into some highly intellectual, materialistic, and spiritually dry future. The God source is infinitely complex, yet deeply simple. I find that God is actually quite easy to experience. The trick is learning what it takes to fully be here now. To feel the divine isness, we must first begin feeling whatever is up for us in this moment. We must explore how we can let go of the mind and open ourselves up emotionally, feeling everything that is here now. When we call off the mental search looking for God out there and simply feel into the core essence of our being, we find that we have been the ones who were hiding and protecting ourselves from the divine. God has always been here, is always here, radiating within every atom in existence. As we drop deeper beneath the thinking mind and through our blocked emotions, we discover the greatest source of peace, silence, and stillness. This is where God abides. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46:10. Perhaps the most radical truth that has been discovered about this human existence is this. We humans are either existing in some form of suffering or living in some form of bliss. We are either in one or the other. We are either living up in our heart or we are in the heart of God. Once we quiet the mind and open our heart together, we can live a balanced life in both realms of head and heart. Doing this, we then start merging with the infinite mind of God. If and when we can remain in this balance 24 hours a day, we will master this lifetime. Then every thought we think manifests into forming our living reality. By living in constant emotional connection with the divine from our core, we become a living, bliss-breathing manifestation machine, perpetually creating every beautiful idea we feel and focus upon. There are not many things guaranteed in this life, yet one thing that is 100% guaranteed is this. At some point, you're going to return to God. It will happen either when your body is still alive or when your body stops breathing. Eventually, you'll feel intimately connected with God again. So do not worry about when or how. All roads lead back to God. The path ahead and the past behind you both lead back to God. God is unavoidable because our past and future are just mental concepts which only exist within this living present moment. The mind alone is always blind to the divine. It is only with a quiet, surrendered mind that we may access an open, receptive heart which can see God in everyone and everything. The mind just doesn't want to realize how ignorant it actually is. It doesn't want to see how powerless, unfulfilled, and trapped it is, as this would cause a huge embarrassment to the ego. When we spiritually wake up, the mind realizes its petty search in the outer world to find everlasting satisfaction is spiritually fruitless. When we spiritually wake up, the mind realizes its petty search in the outer world to find everlasting satisfaction and is spiritually fruitless. Only when the mind surrenders to God do we discover what absolute bliss feels like. Otherwise, the mind will continue to persist in its addictive habits of seeking fulfillment in the outer world. It will ignore seeing how true bliss is available here now. As it needs to continue its addictive search for years, decades, and lifetimes, the mind is always trying to get its desires met by people, food, substances, money, ideas, and is in the habit of constantly yearning for something. Yet, as we all know, once the mind gets what it wants, it's happy for a short while, then is back on the hamster wheel again, searching for fulfillment again. The mind is deeply unaware that it can never, ever be truly satisfied. It's good to know that whatever happens in this life, there are no real mistakes. God is an infinitely positive, creative energy, and this fierce force does not know what a mistake is. Every mistake that we perceive to be real or true is simply the mind forming another judgment. There is universal right or wrong book. There is universal right or wrong book. There is only deeper shades of truth in which each higher layer only reveals a lighter perspective on our enlightening mission we are here to learn. I believe that the greatest goal of life is to find that God source inside us 24 hours a day. This is the only thing which truly satisfies. Everything else falls vastly short. Feeling into your own personal, intimate connection with the divine is the most important thing you can do with your time each day. Everything else you do is going to be the ego seeking some form of gratification, which, of course, will not last. Beware of the ego, as it is easily caught in complaints, negativity, and creating problems that weren't there before. Your only job is to move beyond your ego, transcend your small self, step into the big self that you truly are. When you finally surrender to God at the center of your soul, will know without a doubt that you have just discovered the most amazing experience of coming home. So if you will, go to a place where you're not going to be interrupted. I'm sure that we all are. And the first thing every time is to relax the body through the breath. The breath is divine positive energy. We, the God, enters the body, powers the body in a way, and then the lungs come alive, online, and we have oxygen, breath. And the breath focuses us, eases us, strengthens us, does many things. So when you focus on your breath only, it moves you into the now. The body will surrender, it'll release. Because we pack so much into the body that the body stores, it's like a super magnetic sponge. All the emotions, since you entered that baby body, throughout to now, to the present, all the things that that body has absorbed, all the worries, all the stresses, all the fears, all the anxieties, everything, all the hatred, all the anger, all the love, all the joy, all the bliss. And after a long period of time, parts of the body begin to biologically break. So doing this practice, like we do every day, as much as possible, helps us release all of that. Because it's all an illusion. And haven't you ever thought to yourself, why would I take my energy and put it in lower frequencies? Why wouldn't I take it and direct it into higher frequencies? It's a question we should each ask ourselves several times a day. Because what it does is it starts to make it, we start to focus on that. I will use my free energies to bring myself into higher frequencies rather than to take me down. And it's easy in this material world to get down or angry or frustrated or vengeful. It's easy. every single thing that we put out is guaranteed to come back to us. Doesn't not like you know when or how or why, but at every single time without fail. Some way, shape, or form will come back to us. We're putting things out to parts of ourselves. Why wouldn't it come back to us? Why wouldn't we experience the coming back to us, whatever it may be? If you put out vengeful thoughts, right? Get even, vengeful, based upon your ego mind, what do you think happens? You're directing it towards someone, something. And as you direct it, its intensity, it really is intense. Have you ever noticed that? And someone, does you wrong or something, and you get real irritated, angry, then vengeance, vengeful. And what's actually happening, you're building your own karmic wheel. Because all of that negative energy, sooner or later, will be paid back. It will come back to you tenfold. And this is why a lot of people don't get it. They think that, wow, Have you ever lived a portion of your life where you were in not trusting anybody, right? And you didn't trust anybody. And you thought everybody was out to get you. And this, in turn, would tell the universe, well, I'll give them more of that. And your life is miserable. Because you've manifested all of this stuff, but you're not consciously aware of it. And yet we've all heard that what you put out comes back. That's very true. Because you're putting out things to parts of yourself, whoever it may be. So the intent to do harm, right? To cause emotional upheaval towards another is actually going to happen to the one who is literally sending those low frequencies out. It's an inevitability. And any one of us can check our heart minds and know this to be a fact. We don't know when, we don't know how, but eventually it will come back to the one sending. So it's really important to keep our frequencies and be in the now, where our frequencies are balanced in higher vibrational frequencies. This is one of the reasons that we practice to be in the now. You're not going to be in the yesterday. Yesterday's gone. It's just memory. And tomorrow isn't even here. And the ego mind tries to get us to believe that the only thing we do have is the past and the future. And that's a complete lie. It's a deception. Because the ego mind knows it doesn't exist in the now. So it sure as heck isn't going to encourage us to stay in the now. It's going to do everything it can to keep us out of the now. And when you move into the now, you still the ego mind and the subconscious mind. You don't participate with them. You don't interact with them. You don't engage them. You watch them. You don't judge. You just sit and watch. And this is where you know that ego thoughts will come in. You'll identify them. That's an ego thought. Not interested in it. Won't go there. Not going to allow myself to be taken there. And eventually, we begin to learn this, and we start to understand it. So rather than get angry and vengeful, I'm going to put my efforts and energy into the God within me. Increase my vibrational frequency. You can see on this planet why there's such disarray and such miscombobulated emotions and directions and attitudes. Because everybody is seeking outside of themselves, not within. And no matter how much you want to fight that, it is a constant. It is the only constant. The rest of this stuff is an illusion. That's all it is. A thought doesn't have power until you give it power. Manifesting is taking energy, moving it into form, creating it in reality. And this is what the universe comes in and does that. You're the orchestrator. All of us are. So we get challenged and we get reckless or irritable or irritated, vengeful, and all of these things. Happens every day on this planet. Happens every second across the planet. Where does it take us as a civilization? Where does it take us? Conflict, confusion, disconnect from the gods within us, lostness, feeling inadequate, small, powerless, deprived, all these things. We've all been there. We're not exempt from any of that. It's what we choose. Now, we either choose it consciously or unconsciously. But it's real easy to be seduced into what? Anger, fear, greed, vengefulness, hatred, all of those things. That's a seduction into the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies. It's like jumping into a big pool of jet black goop and washing yourself all over with it. The more we go down that path, the more anger, frustration, distrust grows. And it all sits in our laps. Which direction did we choose? Do we choose to be miserable, upset, angry, frustrated, worried, fearful most of the time? I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't believe so. But it's because we haven't educated ourselves on who and what we are or started the journey within. How do we start that journey? You start with the breath. You listen to the breath. And it literally brings you into the now, which is all we have. There's no way that you, any of us, can guarantee, I don't care what age we are, can guarantee we're going to wake up tomorrow morning. Because we can't. Yet, we live tomorrow and yesterday all the time. And the now, we jump over. Picture yourself standing in front of three paths. You're in the center one, the now. And this is where it gets really important to identify with oneself this. To be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with oneself at all times. To be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest, deepest, purest of the purest, purest, eternal love. Now, these three paths, of course, one on the left is yesterday, one on the right is tomorrow, and the one you're on you right now, the now. Now, you'll notice that the trees have formed a golden canopy over each path, shimmering golden leaves and branches and bark. You'll notice that each path is a brilliant, vibrant, emerald green flaming grass. It appears to be grass. And you'll notice that the path on the left, yesterday, is really worn. And the path to the right, tomorrow, is really worn. Means that most of us choose those paths. Because the one you're standing on now, it isn't hard. It's like it's not been used. Now, we all reminisce, and we reminisce about past experiences in our past, yesterday, and we reminisce, and these thoughts come in. And some things we've done and had fun with, and they were wonderful, and I'd like to do them again. And it's just nostalgia. And it is fun. And we also use the past of experiences that we have compiled through the subconscious mind, our great hall, is that, well, I did that, and it didn't work out the way I did it. So I'm going to do it a different way to see if it'll work out this time. So we'll take that yesterday path. All of us do. None of us are exempt from it. And we'll go into our great hall. And the great hall, it stores everything. It's a subconscious mind. It stores all of our past life. It stores everything that you've experienced while in that baby body to now. And it takes in everything from everything around you. And it records it and stores it. So and then it plays it back. So when we go into the great hall, we open the door, we turn on the light, and whether you know it or not, when you walk into a room, you glance really quickly, like a flash, the ceiling and the walls. But in this great hall, it is so vast that you can't see any walls or ceiling. Nonetheless, you go to the different shelves or drawers, and you pick up some movies and some books and some pictures, of course, from past experiences. And you sit in an easy chair, and there's a screen floating in the air. And you will watch some of the movies and read some of the books and look at some of the pictures. And you reminisce and have fun. Enjoy it. But you don't stay there long. You'll take everything, put it back in its proper place. You'll turn off the light, shut the door, and move forward in life, and then revisit on occasion. Some of us, though, we will stay there so long, and it's unconsciously, for the most part. We stay there so long that we end up taking that past, bringing it into a future that doesn't exist, creating that future from that past, and reliving that past and that future. This is why people will say, no matter what we do, we always end up here. Now, all of us go into the future, too, tomorrow. Okay? What drives us to do this? The ego mind. The ego mind drives us to do it. So we go in the future because we want to know things. We want to know, and of course we're not in the now because we're in the future, so we want to know things. The ego mind keeps pushing them, poking it. You got to know these things. You got to know what's going on. You got to know what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day or a week from now or a month from now or a year from now. Got to know. So we go into the tomorrow, the future, and then we seek external authorities to give us guidance on what's going to happen. Then we ask the tarot readers, the card readers, the astrologers, the psychics, the clairvoyants, the tea leaf readers, the palm readers, the pendulum readers, all of these things. The astrologers, and they give you information. And you're looking for answers, right? You want to know. You want to know when you're going to have enough money to enjoy your life. You want to know when you're going to be well enough and healthy enough to enjoy your life. You want to know when you're going to meet your lifelong romantic partner. You want to know things now. You want to know them now. And so this information is given, and usually it's either or. Some people will take it and they'll say this is wonderful, and they know it will happen. They don't care when. That's up to the universe. And so they intend it and they leave it alone. Then the others, they embrace it. They fixate on it. They'll mark it on their calendar, count the days, the weeks, whatever the length of time is that they're looking for answers. and they'll just fixate, and then they'll have expectations, and then they'll have attachments to the outcome on when it happens, what's going to happen, and how it's going to happen. And so the expectations and the attachments. That's when it doesn't happen. Okay? That's when it doesn't happen. So you can see, just by me just going over the yesterday or tomorrow, how frustrated we get, how angry, frustrated, impatient, hurried, disappointed that we get. We suffer. We're always suffering in the past or yesterday or tomorrow. We're always worried about something that hasn't even come to be yet. We're always worrying. And when those worries disappear and you absolve those, you have solutions for those worries, then more take them, this flood right in right behind them. You get one gone and another one replaces it. It's the ego mind. This doesn't happen in the heart mind. It happens in the ego mind. And by focusing on going within and staying in the now, that's all gone. It doesn't exist. We put out 60,000 thoughts or more per day, each of us do. And it's not like we know we do, right? And we send all that out to the universe. That's why we get these little surprises that come through in life, and they're always teaching us something. So, not only that, imagine you're not in heart mind. Usually you're in the head, the ego mind. And then we have all of these thoughts, I call them programs, tens of millions and billions of them, flying by like clouds in the sky. They're not our thoughts, 99.999% of the time. And so you're programs. So when you're in the now, and you're focused in the moment, you ever find yourself floating off? Sure, we all do it. It's random. It's not like it's designed that way. It's just random. You just float off. You grab onto one of these, and you float away. Now, it's not a biggie because you've identified the fact. You said, okay, so I floated off. I'll focus on my breath, and I'll be in the now 2,000, 3,000% of the time, which is every time. So we do have a choice. Okay? We could either choose to be in turmoil, disillusionment, anger, hatred, fear, greed, manipulation, dishonesty, and suffer, because that's suffering, or to focus on the now, go within, stay within, discover the God that you are within that body. Those are the two choices. There really isn't any others. It's either or. And to be cognizant of that fact, each of us chooses. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to be able to stay in the now 24/7 immediately. It's going to take time. Gradually, more and more aware, the more you practice, the deeper you go within. And then you start to understand that all this other stuff outside of you is just an illusion. So you either embrace it or you let it fly right by. You ever notice when you put your attention on something? You ever notice this? And if it's a worry, a stress, or a fear, we all do it. It grows. You're giving it energy. It's growing. It's manifesting. So if you just dismiss it, leave it to the universe, genuinely through the heart mind, that's up to the universe. You say to the universe, I don't care to have this in my life. I don't care to have it irritate me, upset me, or anything. I care to have it vanish permanently. And that's the intent. And you move forward. And you leave it alone. But the more time we spend on things, they gain power. They gain strength. See? They get roots. And they grow. But we don't know that. It's not like we identify that. Most don't. You know, they put their attention where they put their attention. It's a good or bad. So we have parts of ourselves that are stone cold asleep, the gods that we are, parts of the gods that we are, that are stone cold asleep. We have other parts of ourselves that are pretty much awake, consciously aware, which means consciously aware means that we know that we are of and from the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal love. This is through the heart mind. We know this. Now, when you oftentimes in these guided meditations we've done for the past handful of years, we talk about the archangels, the cherubim, the seraphim, the archetypes. They have physical bodies and gods within them. Right? They do vibrate at a different frequency. There's so many things that vibrate at varying frequencies. But the gods within them are the same with the gods within us in these bodies. And they're always there sending us messages. One of the main messages they send us is what? Isn't it absolutely spectacular, mega glorious, wonderful to be alive in these bodies? Because as a God that we are outside the bodies, we don't taste, right? Touch. We don't have dinners, lunches, or breakfasts. We don't laugh, we don't smile, we don't cry, we don't frown. We don't do all the things that we do in these bodies that we take so much for granted. We don't have those things as gods. Why do you think we enter physical forms? Why are physical forms created? So that the gods can enter them and experience them, whatever the physical form may be. That's why we're always grateful 24/7, without end. Supremely grateful 24/7. It shifts us into the now, into the gratitude. And the more we practice, the more we stay in gratitude. Gratitude isn't for special occasions, it's for every single second. Ascended Masters, Kuan Yin, Maitreya, Buddha, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Gaia, Saint Germain, Christ, El Moria, Abundancia, Pel, Thoth, Yella, Yeshua. They all have bodies. They all have physical form. They hold pure consciousness God form. What is that? That's the God. That's the God that they are. Pure consciousness. We're in physical forms right now. Right? See, the Ascended Masters, they went into physical form. They mastered physical form. They left physical form and ascended and hold pure consciousness God form, themselves, the gods that they are. All of our loved ones who have ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes that we inhabited, part of us, part of the gods that we are. Nothing ever leaves. It changes form. That's it. All the inhabitants of inner earth, hollow earth, Agartha, and beneath earth, the Venusians, Jupiterians, Neptunians, I mean, on and on and on. Their bodies carry gods within them. The Pleiadians, Sirians, Arcturians, Andromedans, all of them. Felines, Zeta Reticuli, Anunnaki, Nords, Greys, Draco, Reptilians, Golden Pyramid, Albion. See? look at them as individual, a separation from us, and it doesn't exist. That's the illusion. We're gathered. In a way, we're always gathered because we're everywhere. And all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever, the gods that we are within these bodies. So we're focused on this planet as complete liberation. Now, the parts of the gods that we are, there are literally numbers that you can't even, that there's no description for. We are in all things, everywhere, parts of us, and we're all one. So we're in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, prosperity, abundance. We're all one. We're all God. And we're all love. And our God force, love, light, energy is in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. Continues to grow, intensify, and expand. Now, we form a massive white fire circle of light around this planet's equator. This white fire, circle of light, emanates from the gods within each and every one of these bodies that we are. This is pure, deep, eternal love, the highest of the highest high vibrational frequencies. And it is saturating this planet, permeating it, flooding it. All life, the highest supreme value in the universe is. You can't, there's no escape. It's everywhere, on and above and below. And it keeps getting stronger. So do you think that lower dark matter, survival matter, twisted, corrupted souls, pure evil can sustain their form at that high a frequency? It's not possible. They'll disintegrate. So we begin to ascend above the planet. And as we do, we come into full contact with this massive ocean of glitter. It's not like an ocean of glitter that you would depict on this planet. It's much more than that. So we do the best we can to describe it. Okay? There's a grand finale fireworks display, grand finale laser light show display, and a ballroom glow. One you shine light on. It has all those faceted mirrors. And it floods the room with light as you shine the light on it. We intensify all these many times, increase their size, and we combine them all into a massive crescendo, which is just an immediate burst of spectacular light and colors and reflections and sparkles that's never been seen before in its entirety. That comes about as close as we can get, near as we can get, to describing the ocean of glitter. We look at all of the reflective points that are everywhere, and we notice these little tiny microscopic mirrors, perfectly etched. We enter them, and we discover that all of us, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever, and all the galaxies, reaching out to all of the universes, we learn and we teach and learn and teach and learn. Each other, with each other, always, infinity and beyond. You learn from a cow, you can learn from a horse, you can learn from a tree, a bush, blade of grass, leaf, cloud, dog, cat, yourself. But see, when we're seduced in the material physical world through the ego mind, we miss most of all that. Well, when we were kids, a lot of us would look at things and say, I wonder what it would be like to be that. I wonder what it would be like to be a horse or a cow. And that's actually what we do. And we enter those physical forms and experience those physical forms. This is how we learn. All of life's happenings and everything. We create these to experience them. Now we're immediately met by the emerald green flaming healing light. We create columns of light, towers of light, all of us. the gods that we are in these bodies. These are reminders for us, okay? And it's like Archangel Raphael carries a column of flaming, brilliant, emerald green, healing light. We create this to remind us all, the gods that we are the power of healing these bodies. Then Archangel Michael carrying a column of light, flaming light, the violet, blue, purple flaming light. This is a reminder for all the gods that we are in these bodies of our omnipotent power, strength, and resolve. And then we're met with the white fire light. This is a column of light that we created to remind us all, the gods that we are within these bodies, that we are the sun. We are the rain and the rainbows. We are the sunlight. We are the sunsets and the sunrises. We are the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, the streams, the trees, the forests, the soils, the animal. We're everything. Everything is us. Always has been, always will be, ever be, and forever. You could look at a cow, a horse, a moose, whatever. You could be that. You could be who you are right now in this very moment. Now, the white fire light is an armor. And that armor is generated from the God within your body. And it is an armor. It's kind of an armor, but nothing like you would know on this planet, way beyond that. Now, as long as you keep your vibrational frequency high, knowingly, consciously, you are protected from all lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies, from attachments, possessions, everything. 24/7, infinity and beyond. But only you have the power. If you decide to lower your vibrational frequency, whether consciously or unconsciously, low enough, through hatred, greed, anger, fear, hurriedness, revenge, envy, worry, stress, fear, anxieties, you will lower your vibrational frequency low enough to create a breach in your white fire armor, allowing all the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies to come flooding in. Then there's all kinds of possibilities, attachment, possession. Now, you do decide to do this, we created fail-safe, the gods that we are in these bodies. So we have this double column of light to remind us. First part of this column of light is the purple transmuting flame. We can bring the purple transmuting flame in. We can transmute all these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies into neutral light substance, sending them to pure consciousness where they are, or more. And then we have the violet ray, the second part of the column of light. This reminds us that we can bring in the violet ray, right behind the purple transmuting flame. We can cleanse and purify the area where these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies were. Sealing the breach in our white fire armor, restoring our vibrational harmony to the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal love, gratitude, and peace. Now, we all know, those of us who are consciously aware, that the golden white pink light column, this light that we create, reminds all of us, the gods that we are, and what we are. Everything. Everything is us. That's a knowing through the heart-mind. It isn't a guess. It's a knowing through the heart mind, not the ego mind. So every time that you see a sunset, a sunrise, something that catches your attention that you look at and you think is absolutely spectacular, right? That's beautiful. That's phenomenal. Look at that view. That's the ego mind. But in truth, it is the God that you are within that body. So when you see those things through the heart mind, your response is, that's the God that I am. That is not separate from it. That is the God that I am. Now, we continue to ascend above the planet. And some of us who are carrying physical form decide to step out the physical form, hover effortlessly above it. And the reason we do that is because we can, and it's a lot of fun. We come into full contact with this massive crystalline light tower that we, the gods within these bodies, created, larger than the solar system and beyond. In the center of the column, we view a massive oblong sphere. In the center of the sphere, we see a huge golden white ball of light. It, in turn, is surrounded by multicolored rings of light that seem to go to infinity and beyond. This creates this massive, super bright, reflective white cloud. It's flashing and sparkling. And that's absorbed in through our heart mind. Like right into the chest. And it feels like a warm embrace that never ends. Now we discovered that the golden white bowl of light is the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest purest, eternal love, gratitude, well-being, gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, massive prosperity, and massive abundance. And then it dawns on us that this is all a reflection of the gods that we are within these bodies. Now, at the top of the column, we designed it so the golden ocean can come cascading down 360 degrees, infinity and beyond, as it's doing right now, saturating, permeating, and flooding this planet on it, in it, above it, and below it. All life, the highest supreme value in the universe. What is the golden ocean? Pure, deep, eternal love. We are drops of this golden ocean. We also hold the essence of this golden ocean. Golden ocean is the drops of the golden ocean. And the only illusion is separation. We see our meditative sphere. It sits center circle. We, the gods in these bodies, created this sphere over 4 years ago. It holds nearly 1,900 of our meditations in perpetual motion. These meditations intensify, grow, and expand continuously. The highest of the highest high intense. Complete liberation of planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, in this now. Complete liberation. So all these meditations over 4 years, every day without interruption, 7 days a week, hundreds of millions of us on and off world, all parts of each other throughout existence and beyond. No escape. You can plug into this through your heart mind, in the now, through the breath, and you can see what's actually happening. You can see all of this black, jet black, the blackest of the blackest black goop evaporating from the surface of the planet from every nook and cranny everywhere. We, the gods, have put this atmosphere in place of golden white, pink, sparkling. It's like a shimmer, right? And We can see through it. So we see all of this black goop, the AI rogue black goop, all of it. Pure, evil, corrupted souls. And it begins to, it's floating up. It's like it's being extracted or vacuumed. And as it goes up through this field that we created, it starts to disintegrate, starts to sparkle, flashes mostly. And it dissipates. It gets less and less and less as we watch it. And the sky, we created this super bright white, golden pink sky. And the evaporation of this goop, if any of it makes to the sky, it has ended in one final flash. And it's all disintegrating into nothingness. Gone permanently. That's what's happening on this planet. The vibrational frequencies continue to go up, increase. Decision by the collective consciousness as more and more people are opening their eyes. This is unending. This is why you see all of the scattering, all of the last-ditch efforts of holding on to the dark control of the planet, and it can no longer sustain itself. It is being evaporated through the collective consciousness. All of us on this planet, on it, in it, above and below it, the intent is we don't care to have this evil inhabit our planet, this planet that we reside on anymore. You tap into that any time you want. Do the opposite of what didn't work before. Believe in the power of silence. The more you can relax and just be, the more abundance of life's rich experience you will receive. I'll join you in a meditation, and I'll return to close this. Take an easy breath in through the nose, slowly. Take an easy breath out through the mouth, slowly. Be still. Do not delude yourself by imagining your source to be some God outside you. Your source is within yourself. Give yourself up to it. Seek the source within and merge with it. For today, investigate this experience called breathing all day long. Keep bringing your mind back to the breath, following it wherever it flows. Just be with it. If it's shallow, deep, fast, or sluggish, don't try to change your breath in any way. Simply connect to it. Feel it from your heart as if you're making friends with it. Notice how it changes when you merge with it and allow yourself to become it fully. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, the following morning. We will return here Monday, June 13th, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call.